right, let's see what's going on in the news this week. A trapper was hunting an alligator Wednesday afternoon after it attacked and killed a dog near a pond in the Villages. A nuisance alligator trapper set up equipment and was poised to capture the alligator at the pond located across from the postal station on Canal Street in the village of Bonita. A large crowd of villagers gathered to watch the trapper as he patiently waited to capture and remove the alligator from the pond. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission and Sumter County Sheriff's deputies responded to the pond to investigate the attack, which occurred earlier in the day. Witness said the visitor had been down near the pond with two dogs and were off leash. It's the owner's fault, once again. The alligator reportedly came racing from the pond and captured one of the dogs. It's said to be about the size of a pit bull. The other dog fled and was not harmed, the witnesses said. Don't walk your dog near any water. Any water. Let me say it again. Any water. If there's water, assume there's an alligator in it. An alligator will come out of that water. You won't even see that alligator till it's too late. And he'll take that dog, and that's just lunch or breakfast to an alligator. He's doing what comes naturally. Anytime your pet's outside your house, it must be on a leash at all times. If it was on a leash at all times, this probably wouldn't have happened. That's why they have that rule. Outfitted in red shirts, a couple dozen Morris Boulevard area residents asked Sumter County commissioners Tuesday night to improve safety for golf carts and other vehicles on the road. The worst bottleneck is at the Morris Gate north of County Road 466, where southbound golf carts must turn left across the traffic in both directions to reach the cart path. At other villages, intersections, tunnels provide a safe way for golf carts to cross them. Residents presented a petition signed by 1,100 people asking for improvements. The county administrator, Bradley Arnold, said traffic has not increased over the past 7 years. The most accidents involved operator error, not the roadway design. I know I'm going to make a lot of people mad, but I'd have to go along with that most people that get hit is because somebody done something stupid. Not necessarily the golf cart guy. Cars up there will do some of the silliest stuff that I've actually witnessed myself. Nothing on video, but I've seen it. And I know people that watch this channel that lives up there, have been up there, are going to verify exactly what I'm telling you. A car is in a big hurry. There's a golf cart right there. This car knows he's only going to go up there maybe a half a block and he's going to turn right. So just because this golf cart's doing 20, the car's doing 30, somehow he seems to think that he'll get there long before that golf cart, and he doesn't. He only gets there a couple of seconds before that golf cart, and he'll turn right, sometimes no turn signal whatsoever, and right in front of that golf cart, and the golf cart driver has no chance to stop and runs right into the car. It happens. Be careful, be careful, be careful, be careful. An employee armed with a knife was arrested after an apparent dispute at the country club in the Villages. The manager of the Orange Blossom Hills Country Club called 911 shortly before 9 p.m. when an employee, 32-year-old Stephen Michael Prushniak of Leesburg, got into an argument with fellow employees at the country club on the historic side of the Villages, according to a arrest report at Lady Lake Police Department. He was irate and vulgar. Well, he was mad. The manager ordered Prushniak, who stands 6 feet 1 inches tall, to leave the country club, but he refused to do so. Bad move on your part there. When police arrived and told Prushniak to exit the facility, he continued to refuse. Now, really, do you think you're going to win? Do you really? An officer noticed an orange pocket knife clipped to Prushniak's cargo pants. He pulled out the knife and refused to put it down when ordered to do so by the police. Prushniak warned the police not to touch him. The Illinois native was belligerent and moved toward the police in an aggressive manner. The report said an officer with a non-lethal electric control weapon to subdue Prushniak. He was arrested and charged for trespassing and resisting arrest. He was booked at Lake County Jail and released after a $2,000 bond. People just do what the cops tell you to do, and there's generally no problem. It always happens when somebody wants to argue with cops. I just don't get it. Real quick, because I know you're all sick of hearing about Katie Bells up there. Real quick, the AAC contends it has no authority to revive Katie Bells as amenity in the Villages. A drunk driving suspect was arrested after a rear-end crash on U.S. Highway 27 and 440 run in the construction zone at Lady Lake. The driver who had caused the accident, 40-year-old Danielle Lynn Garris of Lady Lake, was still seated in her car by the side of the road. She admitted she had been drinking. She refused to participate in field sobriety exercises and would not provide breath samples. The Pennsylvania native was arrested on a charge of driving under the influence. She was booked at Lake County Jail and released after posting a $1,000 bond. This past Sunday, a woman was airlifted after a three-car crash on U.S. Highway 27 441. In April, 2 teens were killed in a crash on U.S. Highway 27 and 441 construction zone near Water Oak. Police have repeatedly pleaded with the public to slow down and use caution in the construction zone. I just simply say avoid that whole area if possible. Go around it. There's other roads up there. Just stay off of it. I swear to you. You'll thank me later. Letter to the editor. I really don't understand the confusion on this. It seems very straightforward to me. The developer built an aesthetic that created part of a presentation that helped sell lots and lots of homes. They made a mistake and used the wrong kind of wood that is now deteriorated, so the developer needs to correct this mistake with a like aesthetic at their expense. It is not fair to create presentation that sells something to someone and then later after the person has bought it say, oh, that was just a prop. So now that we have you, we are going to make you pay for the permanent one. That doesn't make any sense at all. That's sent in by Vicki Walsh, the Village of Hawkins. Well, Vicki, if you watch my channel, get used to it. You know, there it is. There it is, staring you right in the face. And get ready, Vicki, because you guys are going to pay the bill, and maybe the rest of us will be chipping in too to replace a whole big bunch of your golf cart trails down there. But thanks for the letter, Vicki. A man from Mexico was jailed after he was involved in an accident while driving without a license. Well, I'm shocked. Jorge Daniel Davila, 27 of Lady Lake, was involved in the traffic accident at about 8 a.m. Wednesday on Highway 27 441 at Hartsock Sawmill Road. According to the arrest report, the owner of the vehicle, Herrera, had been driving, was on the scene to help translate due to the language barrier with Herrera's and passenger in the car. Herrera was born in Zacatecas, Zacatecas, Mexico. The officer investigating the incident determined that Herrera had not ever been issued a driver's license. He was arrested and charged with driving without a license and booked at the Lake County Jail. He was released after posting a $500 bond. Why he don't have a driver's license? I know. I think you can all figure it out. Yeah. Letter to the editor. I believe adding to the cost of rebuilding the water tower is not being financially smart for a few reasons. One, you are looking to push this cost onto the residents who, for the most part, are living on a budget that is already being challenged by inflation. I've mentioned this before. Why would we be wanting to rebuild something that is not essential at a time when all materials are 2 and 3 times higher than normal? This is not fiscally responsible. I also have a question. Who was here 10 years ago? Me? When they built these structures with material that would decay in 10 years, the village prides itself on being a friendly community and doing things together. I would urge that in these times, do not make decisions that are going to directly affect the residents that are here and maybe perhaps deter future residents from coming here, or we spend money of the residents who strongly disapprove of adding these expenses to their fees. That's sent in by Michael Adams from the Village of Buttonwood. Well, Michael, not the first time anything like this has happened. Might be the first thing you've noticed, but it's not the first time this has happened. Here's another letter to the editor about the windmill tower. This will be the last one I'll read about the windmill and stuff. To the editor, I'm strongly opposed to spending such money onto rebuilding of these obsolete, unnecessary pieces in the Brownwood Square. They might have been meaningful at the beginning of the development to maintain the Old West theme, but now it is not even aesthetically meaningful. Then there's the issue of the eternal profit to the developer at the expense of the villagers. Tear it down and get rid of them for good. That's sent in by Josefa Delgado, the Village of Hillsboro. Well, Josefa, it ain't going to happen. That's part of the design that was approved by Wildwood, and I'm just going to take a stab in the dark and say that it has to go back up. And why we pay for a lot of things around here is beyond me. Here's a good one for you. Food for thought. I've talked about this 100 times, done video on it. The Morris Boulevard Bridge. It's like over $1 million now to shore that thing up because it's been sinking over the years. Villages is footing the bill for that. Us, residents here. Why? It's a public road. It's a public bridge. Shouldn't you think that Sumter County taxes and things should also go in there to help shore this thing up? Why are we footing the bill? And if you find out, send me the answer because I have sent emails out to a lot of people and got no response. A son living in his dead parents' home in the Villages where the utilities have been shut off and a summer foreclosure looms. The home at 1906 Austin Drive in the village of Santo Domingo was the subject of a public hearing Friday morning before the Community Development District 2 Board of Supervisors at Savannah Center. In December, a complaint was received by community standards about a broken window and mold on the home. An inspector earlier this week by community standards revealed the violation still existed. The home has been a problem and was the subject of previous public hearings. The home is in the process of foreclosure and the utilities have been shut off. There has been no success in attempts to reach the homeowner. A representative of the mortgage company testified at the hearing and said the home is in an active foreclosure. He said the uncontested foreclosure should be processed by July. The representative said the repairman had been sent to fix the broken window, but was chased away by an occupant of the home. A pressure washing crew was also ordered to leave before they could perform the work. The last person known to be living in the home was 41-year-old Timothy James Cronin Downey, who was arrested at the home in 2021 after Sumter County Sheriff's deputies received a report of concern that the Weymouth, Massachusetts native might be a danger to himself. Joseph and Rosemary Downey purchased a home in 2004 for $182,500. They married in 1968. She died in 2016. Joseph died in 2020, the day after his 81st birthday. The same month, the home was turned over to his son. What can I tell you? Grow up and fly right or get out. Get up. An enormous crowd showed up Friday morning for the opening of the new BJ's Wholesale Club in Lady Lake. Shoppers lined up more than an hour before 8 a.m., opening of the massive new members-only store. There were so many shoppers at BJ's that parking spilled over into the lot of the nearby Lowe's home improvement store. Reportedly, some BJ shoppers were asking Lowe's employees to help them with their BJ purchases in their vehicles. Are you kidding me? You people have got balls. But everybody knew when BJ's opened up. That's the way it is here. Probably just is anywhere, but especially here with retirees, because they have nothing to do. So when they open up a new restaurant, 10,000 people show up to eat. And then they all get upset when the service isn't fast. Well, you know, what can I tell you? Thirsty golfers are popping beers in a parking lot at Hacienda Hills Championship Golf Course. Carl King of the village of Hacienda West lives on the golf course and aired his concerns Friday morning at the Community Development District 1 Board of Supervisors meeting. The country club and priority pool were demolished in 2020. There have been plans for apartments, later revised to villas, at the former home of Hacienda Hills, but nothing has been happening at the site, King said. Supervisor Ellen Cora teased the possibility that the developer might make an announcement about the future of Hacienda Hills site at the upcoming evening with a developer. Listen, that evening with the developer thing is all a set-up deal. Don't waste your time and even go. You're not going to be allowed to ask questions or anything else. And when the ones that do ask questions are the ones that before this even happens, they're already designated. You're going to ask this. Bob, you're going to ask that. It's almost like a presidential thing. It's not going to be no random questions, so you can just forget it. Matter of fact, here's what I say about the evening with the developer. Nobody go. Just don't go. Deed compliance problems continue to pile up at a home once occupied by squatters in the Villages. The home located at 718 Santa Fe Street in the village of Polo Ridge was back before the Community Development District 3 Board of Supervisors on Friday in a public hearing at Savannah Center. The abandoned house has been a source of strife for neighbors. The owners are dead, and the ownership of the property is in foreclosure. The water and utilities have been shut off. A squatter was arrested at the home last year. More than $1,500 in fines had previously piled up at this home. Mold remains a problem at a home in foreclosure in the Villages. A home located at 2715 De La Rosa Street in the village of Alhambra was the subject of a public hearing Friday before the Community Development District 2 Board of Supervisors at Savannah Center. A complaint about mold growing on the home was lodged back in November with community standards. However, the problem has not been addressed and the mold was still growing on the home as of this week, according to the testimony presented at the hearing. The home is owned by Antoinette Pacelli. Community Standards has attempted to contact her, but calls have gone straight to voicemail and no one has answered the door. Mold growing on a home in the Villages already facing $15,800 in fines. Oh, ladies, if you have a 40-year-old daughter living at home with you, please come to the Villages. This could be your son-in-law. A Lady Lake man with a violent criminal history was nabbed while riding a bicycle without lights. Jed Appleton, 35, was riding the bicycle at about 1:30 a.m. Thursday on the sidewalk adjacent to U.S. Highway 27 and 441. Well, I will say this. I would much rather be on the sidewalk with the bicycle with no lights than be on that highway where then people will run over you. When an officer noticed the bicycle did not have proper lighting, according to the arrest report from the Fruitland Park Police Department, the officer discovered that Appleton was wanted on a warrant charging him with violating his probation resulting from a domestic battery case. He was also found to be in possession of marijuana and methamphetamine. That seems to be the drug of choice nowadays. Methamphetamine. You read about it all the time. Must be something cheap. Probably made out of Clorox. He was booked without bond at the Lake County Jail. Appleton is on probation as a result of an altercation last year in which he threatened to kill his girlfriend. Appleton was arrested earlier that same year after a traffic stop. He had been arrested in 2020 in Lady Lake after reportedly using a stiletto-style knife to stab a man who was airlifted from the scene. What a sweetheart. A villager has lost her driver's license as the result of golf cart drunk driving arrest at Lake Sumter Landing. Julian Marie Labrizzi, 59, of the village of Piedmont, was sentenced last month in the Sumter County Court on a charge of driving under the influence. In addition to losing her driver's license for 6 months, she had been placed on probation for 1 year and has been ordered to perform 50 hours of community service. New Sprouts Farmers Market in the village is expected to be finished by January. I have no idea what that is. $1.13 million price tag to fix under-drain system in Sawyer Villas. CDD4 Chairman Jim Murphy was clearly frustrated last week when the price tag was unveiled. He said he has been told repeatedly that the project met specifications with regard to engineering and design. How does it meet all the standards, but it doesn't work? Good question. Residents of Sawyer Villas have been angry about what they describe as the premature deterioration of the road due to the drainage problem. Phillips Villas and Sawyer Villas in CD4 were both constructed about 6 years ago. The Phillips Villas have not had the same problem. The problem similar to the one of Sawyer Villas is being experienced in the Callahan Belglade Villas in Community District 10. They were all constructed all about the same time. The CDD4 board in 2018 had to enact a 20% increase in the maintenance assessment paid by the residents to pay for repairs after massive sinkhole damaged a neighborhood on McLaren Terrace in the village of Calumet Grove. A home at 17375 Southeast 76 Cora Peak Court in the village of Chatham was the subject of a public hearing last week before the Community Development District 4 Board of Supervisors. The home is owned by Joanne Lasanti and the Elizabeth Sperandio Estates. Sperandio died and there's currently an open probate case. So Lasanti has not been reachable according to community standards. The home was the subject of public hearing last year and the fines ordered after that hearing have been piling up. Florida continues to be the lightning capital of the nation. Of the 11 fatalities, 4 occurred in Florida, a roofer and 2 on the beach. The 4th occurred on a golf course. In fact, we had 3 fatalities on the golf course last year, after going 3 years with none. Here in the villages, the number of days with lightning was down to 95, below the 8-year average of 108. The most significant lightning experience occurred in the villages of Monarch Grove in June, when a home took a direct hit, opening a 2-foot hole in the roof, but fortunately no ensuing fire. I had a neighbor that got hit by lightning the same day he was moving in. Went directly to his breaker box, burned everything out. The day that he closed on the house and was moving in, it got hit. He couldn't move in. I felt so sorry for the guy. Sumter County officials urge residents to be ready for active hurricane season. We go through this every year, but the new people moving in go to the hurricane. They'll have like a class at one of the rec centers. And if you don't know anything about hurricanes or have no idea or whatever, I urge you to go. Take your favorite drink, go with a friend, and listen. You'll pick up a tip or two that'll help you out. A man who has stolen and taken wild rides in a fire truck and the community watch vehicle in the villages contends he is not a flight risk. In the handwritten letter that he filed at Sumter County Court, 32-year-old Jesse Charles Webb has pleaded with a judge to set an affordable bond so he can be released in custody. Webb has been jailed since stealing the village's public safety department Ford F-550 basic life support vehicle in March while it was on an emergency call. In a letter, Webb contends that he is not a flight risk, has stable housing, and that he is a resident of Central Florida and has ties to the community. Yeah, he lives with his grandmother. Webb has a long criminal history and arrested after holding a woman at knife point for several hours on New Year's Day on the historic side of the villages. She eventually broke free and ran to a gas station pleading for help. He was later released from jail on his own recognizance. Then Webb stole a bucket truck, and then a golf cart, and then finally the emergency vehicle. Village's couple has been sentenced in a case in which their vehicle crashed into multiple golf carts after they had been drinking at a restaurant at Town Square. Laurel Pamela Salter, 71, who lives at 2577 Pravada Drive in the village of Alhambra, was at the wheel of a black 2018 Nissan SUV in February. She crashed into 3 golf carts, pushing them from their parking spaces on Lakeshore Drive at Lake Sumter Landing. She put the SUV in reverse and sideswiped 3 more, according to the arrest report. When deputies attempted to speak to a Moultrie, Georgia native, she had to lean against the SUV to maintain her balance. It appeared she was highly intoxicated. Her blood alcohol content registered 0.178 and 0.160. During the DUI investigation, Salter's live-in boyfriend, get a picture of him, 77-year-old Larry Pogue, attempted to persuade the deputies not to be hard asses. Pogue identified himself as a veteran who has killed many people. I don't know if these people realize how stupid they sound. He said he believed that deputies had a certain amount of discretion and could use it to let Salter go. When deputies were not receptive to the idea, Pogue insulted a female deputy at the scene and asked, "Doesn't the sheriff's office have a weight limit policy?" Oh, keep poking that bear with a stick, buddy. Just keep poking the bear. When deputies attempted to take Pogue into custody, he struggled with them and pulled away. 2010, Pogue was arrested on charges of disorderly intoxicated and resisting arrest after getting verbally aggressive toward employees at McCall's Tavern at Spanish Springs Town Square. He had been arrested in 2015 after he allegedly punched a man and assaulted a supporter of the LGBT community who he accused of taking his seat near the gazebo. Pogue was also arrested earlier in 2015 on a charge of disorderly intoxication at American Legion Post 347. A villager was jailed on a drunk driving charge after crashing her car in a roundabout. Diane Frank, 65, was at the wheel of a 2020 Hyundai Elantra when she crashed at about 4:30 p.m. Sunday in a roundabout at Buena Vista Boulevard, St. Charles Place. According to an arrest report from the Sumter County Sheriff's Office, her vehicle crashed into a light pole and ran through a flower bed. Chicago native was still seated in the vehicle when deputies arrived at the scene. Her eyes were bloodshot, her speech was slurred, and she had a strong, obvious odor of alcohol. She almost fell backward during the field sobriety test. Her breath sample was registered at 0.194 and 0.192 blood alcohol content. Frank had been arrested in 2016 after egging her ex-boyfriend's house in the village of Sunset Point. However, a deal brokered by Frank's attorney allowed her to enter a pretrial intervention agreement, and she completed a detox program as part of her agreement. She egged his house. That's funny. Village of Caroline resident was apprehended on a drunk driving charge on State Road 44 in Wildwood. Caroline, that's our old neighborhood. I like Caroline. If you want to be close to a lot of golfing, that's not the neighborhood for you, but we liked it. It was quiet. It didn't have a through street. I always tell people, if you're buying a home, try to get in an area where they don't have a through street, because every Tom, Dick, and Harry will use your street as a shortcut to get somewhere. Tracy Ann Allen, 51, had been driving shortly before 1 a.m. Saturday on State Road 44 near Spring Flow Avenue when a Sumter County Sheriff's deputy spotted her vehicle, which appeared to be suspicious. And the deputy made contact with Allen. It appeared that she had been drinking. Allen, who purchased her home for $330,000, I don't know, don't care, struggled through field sobriety exercise. She provided breath samples that registered .169 and .167 blood alcohol content. Allen was arrested on charges of driving under the influence. She was booked at Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $500 bond. Such a slow bond tells me that was her first offense, so, I won't say too much about it. Mistakes happen. A villager with drugs in her vehicle was arrested on a charge of driving under the influence at Lake Deaton Plaza. Lake Deaton Plaza is where Sue had her minor accident. Daniel Elizabeth Hannaran, 42, of the village of Collier, was driving a black Volkswagen shortly before midnight Saturday on State Road 44 when the Sumter County Sheriff's offices received a report of an erratic driver who was possibly driving impaired. A deputy found the vehicle and initiated a traffic stop at the Marathon service station at Lake Deaton Plaza. The New Jersey native claimed that she had been drinking and she had not taken any prescription meds. That's another problem here. Prescription meds. Everybody seems to think if a doctor gives you a prescription for something, you can take them all the time, and you can't. She performed poorly in field sobriety exercises during an inventory of her vehicle. Xanax and amphetamine, amphetamine, amphetamine pills were discovered. There were also 2 empty prescription bottles of methadone in a lockbox found in the vehicle. Methadone, isn't that the drug you take when you are coming off of heroin? Am I right about that? She provided a breath sample that measured .000 blood alcohol content. Heroin was arrested and charges with driving under the influence and possession of a controlled substance. She was booked at Sumter County Detention Center on a $2,000 bond. A villager was arrested near Panera at Spanish Springs after an alleged attack on his live-in lady friend. Michael McKay, 57, who lives on the historic side of the villages, was found in his golf cart Friday night near Panera as officers were investigating a report he had attacked his live-in girlfriend, according to the arrest report from the Lady Lake Police Department. His girlfriend had reported that she and McKay, with whom she had been in a relationship for 4 years, had been on their way home earlier in the evening in the golf cart when he struck her several times in the chest. They both had been drinking. They both had been involved in an argument. Officers found him in a golf cart near Panera. He denied he'd done anything wrong. She is crazy, he told police. The Indiana native was arrested on a charge of domestic battery. He was booked at the Lake County Jail and released after posting a $1,500 bond. A Village of Liberty Park man was jailed after a woman reported him as a trespasser in a home owned by a resident of a local care facility. Glenn Eugene Patilla, 61, who lives at 1980 Orangeburg Terrace, had been traveling in a vehicle with the 52-year-old woman from Ohio when they got into an argument, according to the arrest report from the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. He ordered her out of his vehicle and kept driving after leaving her by the side of the road. Well, I'm sure it wasn't funny for her. When she reached the residence owned by the person at the care facility, she discovered that Patella was already there. He had acquired a garage code to gain entry. When deputies arrived at about 2 a.m. Saturday, they found Patella lying on a bed. He admitted he did not live in the home, but claimed the owner had given him permission to stay there for the night. The location of the residence had been redacted from the arrest report. The woman has the power of attorney for the home's owner, and Patella was ordered to leave. However, the New York native refused to go. He was arrested on charges of trespass and booked at Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $1,000 bond. Something just tells me we ain't heard the last of him. CDD 8 poised to forgive $6,600 in deed compliance fines over rock violation. A villager who admitted she drank wine at a country club was arrested after sideswiping a golf cart. Elizabeth Williams Berry, 74, was driving a white 2020 Hyundai Santa Fe SUV when she sideswiped a black 2012 club car golf cart at about 5 p.m. Monday on Pinellas Place near the Bonifay Country Club, according to the arrest report. She initially claimed she had consumed a single glass of wine at the country club. The driver of the golf cart said the SUV was passing his golf cart when the collision occurred. Another witness said Berry attempted a three-point turn after the crash, but was having difficulty. Berry struggled through field sobriety exercises and had an extremely difficult time placing the tip of her finger on the tip of her nose. She had to perform the exercise in a seated position because she was having balance issues. She was also zoning out during the exercises. You know what that is, right? When they're talking to you and their eyes keep closing, they just, but no, I'm all right. See, her breaths was 0.071 and 0.065. You know, really, that's not that bad. Is that legal? Isn't it 0.08 is legally drunk? 0.07 is legal. 0.06 is legal. She also provided a urine sample. The Buffalo, New York native was arrested on a charge of driving under the influence. She was booked and posted a $1,000 bond. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading this thing wrong. I don't know. Anyway, she was arrested for and charged with driving under the influence. CDD2 supervisor will take residents' questions at El Santiago Rec Center. Be there. A Village of Bonita resident celebrated after getting her second hole-in-one Sunday at the Amberwood Executive Golf Course. Heidi Pearl scored the lucky ace at hole number 1. Congratulations, Heidi. A resident of the Villages who had been drinking was arrested after law enforcement was called to a disturbance. Sumter County Sheriff's deputies responded to a home in the village of Pennycamp on Sunday evening after a 911 call was received, according to the arrest report. A resident alleged that 57-year-old Sandra Lee Juneau had thrown a walker at her. Juneau attempted to intervene when deputies tried to speak to the other party. The New Jersey native admitted she had consumed about 5 beers. When Juneau refused to cooperate with deputies, they attempted to take her into custody. However, she stiffened her arms and tried to turn away. Juneau was arrested on charges of resisting arrest. She was booked at Sumter County Detention Center and released after a $1,000 bond. Juneau had also been arrested in 2019 for a disturbance. Calm down there, Cupcake. A man from Mexico driving without headlights was arrested near the Morris Gate and U.S. Highway 27 at 441. Afron Garcia, 50, of Lady Lake, was driving a red Ford SUV at about 8:30 p.m. Sunday when he was pulled over for not having his headlights on. A check revealed that Garcia, who was born in Mexico, has never been issued a driver's license anywhere in the United States. He was arrested on a charge of driving without a license and issued a warning for the headlight violation. Garcia was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $500 bond. A habitual traffic offender was nabbed after caught back behind the wheel. Alicia Tirado Hernandez, 31, was driving a black Dodge pickup in the wee hours Monday morning on Lake Griffin Road when the Lake County Sheriff's deputy noticed that the vehicle did not have an operational tag light. The deputy initiated a traffic stop when Hernandez attempted to pull into his own driveway at 222 Lake Griffin Road. The deputy asked Hernandez for his driver's license, but he said he didn't have it on him. According to the arrest report, he claimed it was his house. The deputy looked up Hernandez's information on Social Security number, and the computer check revealed that Hernandez's driver's license had been suspended, and he has been classified as a habitual traffic offender. He was arrested on third-degree felony charge and driving while license suspended. He was booked at the Lake County Jail and released after posting a $2,000 bond. That'll teach him. A $111,350 traffic study could cost Community Development District 1 residents a $30 rate hike in their maintenance assessments. The CD1 Board of Supervisors on Wednesday discussed a potential traffic study which would be undertaken after persistent calls from residents concerned about safety on Morris Boulevard north of County Road 466. Sumter County owns the road, and county commissioners have consistently brushed off residents' concerns about the commingling of golf carts and vehicles on that section of Morris Boulevard. One commissioner even suggested the possibility of removing golf carts from that stretch of Morris Boulevard. County commissioners have argued that an expansion of Morris Boulevard would be extremely expensive and could force the acquisition of homes for demolition. Supervisor Judy Bobersheimer said it might be time to bite the bullet and raise the assessment. A 10% increase would raise an additional $110,000, enough to pay for a traffic study. The increase would cost each household in CD1 about $30 a year. Seems to be a lot of talk around here about raising prices on a lot of stuff. You've heard the reports everywhere from home insurance because of shingles to assessments. Property taxes jumped up 25%. The tower, the water tower, the windmill. I mean, it just seems like it never ends. Eden Living with a mission to redefine an underserved segment of the rental population. It's about to start construction on a new horizontal apartment project just south of the village of Finney. The development will include 130 build-to-rent units on 15 acres. Eden plans to break ground in June and expects to complete the project in September 2023. It closed on the site at 2072 County Road 501 on April 11th. The new project is part of a recently formed venture between Eden Living and an investment fund managed by Morgan Stanley Real Estate Investing. Eden previously finalized an agreement with MSREI to invest up to $180 million in its developments. The venture currently has several horizontal apartment projects under construction in Florida. CDD4 weighing maintenance assessment hike due to concerns about road. See, there's another one. A villager with history of driving offenses has been arrested on a warrant charging her with drunk driving. Lois Catherine Blasco, 74, was arrested by Sumter County Sheriff's deputies on Tuesday at her home at 3271 Ashbrook Place in the village of Summerhill. She was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $1,000 bond. Blasco had previously been arrested on charges of driving while license suspended. She was jailed twice in 2012 on those charges. Her license was originally suspended due to failure to comply with a traffic summons. The Tierra del Sol Recreation Center will be closed. Churchill Street Recreation Center and Pool will be closed for maintenance. An unlicensed driver from Mexico in an unregistered vehicle was nabbed near Water Oaks on U.S. Highway 27 and 441 in Lady Lake. Carlos Alberto Munoz Herrera, 35, of Fruitland Park, shortly before 7 a.m. Tuesday was driving a white 2000 Chevrolet truck heading north on U.S. Highway 27 and 441 at County Road 466 when an officer ran the license plate and discovered it was registered to another vehicle, according to the arrest report. During a traffic stop, Herrera handed the police officer a Mexican identification card. He admitted he does not have a valid driver's license and the truck did not have a registration. He was arrested on a charge of driving without a license and issued a warning for driving an unregistered vehicle. The native of Aguayas, Salentos, Mexico, was booked at the Lake County Jail and released after posting a $500 bond. The woman traveling with Herrera was issued a ticket for allowing an unlicensed driver to drive a vehicle. Okay, I think that's it. That's going to be enough. Let's get out of here. Hope you enjoyed the news. Hope you keep watching. So with that being said, let's get out of here. Don't leave your keys in the golf cart.